Good morning. When we worked supine, trying to reorganize the shoulders and rib cage, you were working with gravity. You're bringing your shoulders, these are your shoulders and rib cage toward the floor. You did have to use some muscle to do it, but gravity helps you align the bones. Now we're going to up the ante. And to add weight resistance to this work, you can use gravity to work against it. And by working against gravity, there's a little more effort for the muscles to hold your bones in this alignment, which will help keep changing the shape of this upper body. Remember, we want to fix the kyphosis, the hyperkyphosis. Kyphosis is the curves in the spine. Hyperkyphosis is that rounding forward that our culture has created. And we don't want to fix it by just popping the ribs forward. That actually fixes nothing. It just hides it and it creates a new problem. So we're trying to change it. So prone mountain, when people lie down on the floor, face down in a yoga class or an exercise class, they tend to do this, right? And when you drop your shoulders and head to the floor, it's the same as this forward thing that we're doing all day long. So we don't want to do that. So when you get down on the floor, don't put your head and shoulders to the floor. You're going to start by having your head off the floor and your hands are palms flat on the floor, not forearms flat. If you can get your elbows down, you got to slide your hands back. This also shouldn't be so far back that it hurts your wrists. We're just using this to get the shoulder blades into position. So by pulling the hands back, you've already sort of slid your shoulder blades onto your back a little, and then we want to draw the shoulder blades toward the feet. Do you see the difference? Shoulders hunched up by my ears, shoulders toward the feet. I'm going to keep my head off the floor and look down at the ground. I'm looking at you so I can talk to you, but you do this with your head facing the ground, because otherwise you're creating a lot of crunch in the back of the neck. We want the back of the neck to stay long. So you're looking down at the ground. You're going to take your arms back alongside you. Fingers are on the floor, and you're keeping those shoulders away from the floor and pulling towards your feet. Your head is off the floor. Now, once you get here, people hear shoulders up and they like to lift their chest higher. That's not what this pose is, because honestly, when you go to lift your chest higher like that, you're doing this thing again, which is what we're trying not to do. So if you can remember what it is to bring your rib cage toward the floor, Katie Bowman calls this dropping the ribs. Drop the ribs. If you can remember what that feels like, doing it here would be a good thing to do. So shoulder blades on the back, shoulder blades pull toward the feet, fingers go back on the floor. I've got my palms up, backs of the fingers on the floor, and I can use the floor for leverage to keep those shoulders up. And then I want to drop my ribs, pulling the front of my rib cage in a little bit. So it's my upper arms resisting gravity, changing the shape of the collarbone, shoulder blade, rib cage relationship. And you hold this, and you hold this for like 5 or 10 seconds. And then when you go to rest, you bring your arms under your head so that you don't do this, which you just did all this work to counter. And if you did that a few times in a row for about 10 seconds each, you'd start to build the strength in your upper back and the familiarity in your body of being ribs down, upper arms back, head in line with the spine, as opposed to the kyphosis that's exaggerated that we're all creating and then fixing it with the rib cage. Instead, ribs down, upper arms back, head in line with the spine. Work on that. That's called prone mountain. There's a much longer version of this video that I created a long time ago, and if you want to go looking, you got to scroll almost all the way back to through all my YouTube videos to find it, and it's called prone mountain. Okie doke. Have a good time with this. Bye.